Hi, my name is Teresa Valentino. I'm a survivor of child sex trafficking, and I maintain a mental health DIY type survivor pro tips blog at teresavalentino.com and also on YouTube. And today, what I'd like to talk about is despair and how to get out of it. For much of my life, I had this feeling that there had to be some mistake, that the life that I was living was so awful that somehow it was a mistake, that there had to be a better life for me somewhere. Just don't know why I'm not able to get there from here. Yeah, I just always felt like somehow I should be able to sort of flip a switch or something, or wake up one morning and everything would be right, because it all was just so wrong. And I was not able to imagine how I would make it happen. I've never been able to figure out all my life how I would get there from here. How, what is it that I need to change to not have all this difficulty anymore? And what I've come to realize and accept is that I have to just do that. It's not like a thing that I'm going to plan out and figure out how to do. I had to do it emotionally. And I have done it very successfully to a large degree. Now, recently, I came across a book that is outstanding, and I would really recommend it. It is called 3096 Days in Captivity, and the author is Natasha Kampusch, Kampusch. She is a woman who was abducted at age 10 off of the street in Austria. She was on her way to school, and a man named Priklopil abducted her and threw her into a dungeon so far below the ground that it took him almost 1 hour. It took him like an hour to get in and out of that dungeon. It was a bomb shelter. The door of that thing makes me want to have a panic attack. When they photographed this, it's like 3 feet thick concrete door. She was really entombed in there. As she said, once she realized how far below and how hidden she was in the earth in this soundproof dungeon, where you could have run like a chipping hammer or some kind of a specialty construction hammer down there without hearing anything in the garage above. He soundproofed it. He was really a sick man. So Natasha said, if he gets into a car accident and dies up there, they'll never find me. I'll be like the pharaoh down here at Mummy in his tomb. So that's despair, man. She's been kidnapped by this weirdo. She was in his custody for 8 years in that dungeon, and she survived. So that's the kind of thing where I feel like I can take a very big teachable moment from Natasha, and I certainly did good enough, I think, to make a whole video about it. And I will do my best to blog about this also in writing sometime this week to give further thoughts on it, although I am pretty busy this week. But this is pretty important, because I know a lot of people, look, especially the young people today, they've gone to high schools where they have been thinking about getting shot every single day. They have all the same childhood and sexual abuse that my generation was dealing with. And it's just crazy now. They have revenge porn and just people swatting each other. There's just all kinds of crazy stress factors now that I can really see, especially with the racial anxiety the way that it is. I can really see a lot of people feeling despair. And so this, I'm hoping, is going to be a really good way to leverage other people who have worked our way out of our despair too. Because, that peace of mind and that comfort, you have to find it on the inside. It's the old free your mind and the rest will follow. You cannot wait until the world shows you a decent place. You have to build a safe and happy place inside of yourself to get out of that despair. You have to build it, especially when you can't see it. You have to make it for yourself on the inside first, or it can never appear in your world. It's very unfair, and you can't dwell in the anger of that. You can't dwell in the loss of it and feel like, hey, why do I have to build just a basic world for myself to live in? That seems like so much extra work. It's very anger-inducing, and again, scoots you right back to despair if you allow it. So I think this is important enough, like I said, to make a video about it. So in Natasha's book, at one point she mentions, and if you think about the despair that we all experience, I mean, obviously other people experience worse despair than me in this world, but I've experienced certainly at least my share. But I've never been in a dungeon held by a lunatic. I mean, Natasha, even when she was 10 years old, knew that she was saner and some level more competent than this adult. And so she had to spend 8 years basically working her way out by mind gaming him. And J.C. Dugard also describes a very similar process, and she had 2 of them to work with. So, if these people have found ways not to sink into the despair and die, I don't know. I mean, they can certainly. I'm confident that I can apply their strengths and their leadership to my own life problems. So with Natasha, there was one point that was really stuck out for me because she said that at some time, maybe, I think she said she was maybe 13 or 14, and can you imagine the despair that she had to be in this crazy bomb shelter, like underneath the mummy's tomb, with this lunatic. The only person who even has any idea where she exists is that man Pricklepill. And she at some point turned a corner on it and just, I think she said she became aware of herself at age 18, or she just somehow knew that at age 18 she would escape and that there would be nothing he could do about it, and that only one of them would be able to survive. But you know, the first few years she was really having to hash all of that over, like, is there some way that I can just get out of here? Can I talk him into letting me out? You know what I mean? But as she reached puberty and became a real woman, she started triggering his insanity in different ways, and at that point, I think she started to realize that no, there's only one of us going to be able to leave here. He's not going to, there won't be any talking him down or tricking him or anything. No, I'm going to have to escape. I'm going to have to overcome him. And the harder he pushes me down, the harder I know I'm winning. So that was kind of a really horrible but valuable moment for the rest of us. Horrible that he put her through it, but beautiful that she found it and she expressed it in a book. So again, that book is called 3096 Days by Natasha Kampusch, and I would recommend it. She really does not go into a lot of the gory details, you could say, about the abuse, about the sexual aspects of it. She just feels that that's overly personal, and that makes total sense to me. Just as a side note, I kind of do really appreciate that Pricklepill killed himself almost immediately after she escaped. That's a whole separate video, but her compassion for him and how she feels about that, and how other people have given her crap about being sorry and regretting that he was dead. No, I totally get her wanting to have closure by being able to process with him, by being able to play the process out. But for me, I just see that she's then able to control the narrative 100% in a much better way, and in a way that has frustrated a lot of people who claim to be supporters. So Natasha's very teachable, and that's I'll talk more about Natasha later. But for now, I would just like to say that her ability to find her strength and to find that light at the end of the tunnel, because that's really what the despair thing is when you don't believe there will ever be a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's why people get into suicidal thinking. I've said this before, but let me say it again. If you are even close to despair, if you are even close to out of control emotionally, please get into therapy. Find yourself a competent therapist. Everyone deserves that. And if you are feeling anything even remotely close to despair, you absolutely need that. It is just like going to a doctor when you think you're going to die, okay? Please do it for yourself. So if you are doing better than that, and I certainly hope that you are, you might want to check out Natasha's book. And I'm not going to make this video really long, but she does kind of give better ways to think about shifting out of a seemingly impossible situation. And it's not going to take you an extra 3 or 4 years in a dungeon of being kicked, beaten, and starved every day to be able to, probably not. I mean, I shouldn't be too presumptive, but, you know, it's probably not going to be as difficult for you to work your way out of your despair situation as it was for Natasha. And hopefully you can leverage her success and her leadership as I have done. So thank you for showing up, and take care of yourself. If you like this video, please comment, like, rate, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to get updates, and check my blog at teresavalentino.com. You can sign up there for a free advance copy of my upcoming memoir, Dear Jimmy, What a Child Trafficking Survivor Wishes You Knew. Thank you.